I think it really impacted me, just to that feeling of like watching someone you love leave. I think kids have sometimes like things they're going through and they don't know how to express it. And some people just become a target for whatever they're going through. And I believe that meditation and mental health and yoga should be all required.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Cosmic Chats. We're here with Jckie Moore, an actress who's from originally New Jersey. But today she's going to get down and start talking about overcoming heartbreak. And you may want to find out how to do this for yourself. So how would you describe the taste of a banana to someone who has never eaten it?
I would say it's a very mellow flavor. It's sweet, a bit tart or tangy, different than what you'd think it would taste like, and almost like the birthday cake for all the fruits, I would say.
Oh, it is like birthday cake. That's right, because it has that texture. Oh, I've never had anyone describe it like that. Oh, the birthday cake. You can tell I like birthdays.
I do too.
Do you like birthdays? Yes?
Oh, yeah. When's your birthday?
August 21st.
So you are a Virgo or a Leo? What is that?
I'm a cusp, baby.
Cusp, baby. I love it.
Yes, and according to different astrology lineages, my planets and things are in different places, because anyone who is a cusper is going to have mixed side. For example, Vedic astrology is 22 degrees back from Western astrology. So you get a whole different scenario. But the reality is this: if you have an expert who knows it inside out and back to front, everything is covered. But if you only get a little bit of information, it's like basing everything off your sun sign. Doesn't make any sense.
No.
And when's your birthday?
June 29th.
Oh, okay. All righty. We've got a little bit of water going on here. Okay. So when did you have your first existential life crisis as a child?
I actually remember this vividly. I was about 4 years old, and my mom, who stayed at home with my sister and I when we were kids, she went to work one day. And this was, I don't know if she thought, oh, well, maybe because she's an artist, and I think she wanted to maybe try working some days and having someone watch us. But I was so used to my mom being with us every single day, that when she left, I just remember I don't want to cry thinking about it, but it's still such a vivid memory, just like watching her car leave. And it was just like, it really affected me. And she ended up not working out of the house. I think she realized like we weren't fans of that, but I still remember that. I think it really impacted me, just to that feeling of like watching someone you love leave, you know.
Was it the fear that they wouldn't come back?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what it is.
But your mother had never shown any behavior that she would not come back.
No, and I don't know why that memory is so significant in my life, but I just feel like when you're a kid, you're so in the present moment that you're just like, this person that's always there is leaving. I don't understand. And I just remember, like, maybe because I was around 4, so my memories that's when they became clearer. You know, maybe when I was younger, I wouldn't have remembered something like that, her even, you know, leaving briefly, but for some reason that really stayed with me.
And were you the elder sibling?
I'm 18 months older than my sister.
And your younger sister, did she have a similar emotional response?
No, I don't think she did. I've never asked her about it. I should ask her if she remembers that. But she would have been probably 2 or 3 at the time. So maybe she's always been a bit stronger than I am in certain ways. And I think I'm very emotional and like, you know, just dramatic. So something like that was maybe nothing to someone else, but for me, it was a big deal.
And do you recall after that incident having repeating emotions about someone who you care about leaving and not coming back?
Not when I was a child, but definitely as I, you know, when you get older and relationships end or you know, things happen, it's a different feeling, but nothing like that. Nothing like that. That was the only one I can remember where it was like very, very clear.
So there weren't any situations in a relationship where you were concerned that someone would leave you?
Oh, definitely. I remember in elementary school, my first kind of my first crush, I would say. We had a little thing, and you know, when you're in elementary school, it's so innocent, and you're not kissing or anything. Like, it's a big deal to hold hands, and I think he kind of felt pressured from his friends to not date me because I wasn't cool in elementary school. There was a lot of girls that were kind of bullying me, and I think that really hurt. I remember he just like completely stopped talking to me. You know, years later comes back and says how sorry he is. But
really? And so this happened. How old were you approximately when this you guys were sort of dating?
I think I was in 7th grade.
Okay, so it was almost like middle school. So you were 12?
Yeah.
12. Okay, so not super young. And then how old were you when they came back and said, "Oh, I was just a knucklehead"?
Actually, high school. And he went to a different high school than I did. And when he was like 18 or something, I remember he came to visit me, and he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. You know, how I liked you so much, and I'm really sorry for how I treated you." And, you know.
Now that happened to come up, or they went out of their way to make this amends?
He definitely went out of his way, I think, to clarify like what he was going through in that time and like how he felt. And I don't even know if he really understood why he acted the way he did, but I feel like it was, you know, very nice of him to have that kind of self-reflection and see that it hurt me the way he acted. So.
Did he explain why he acted that way, or he simply said, "I'm sorry"?
I think he said that he wanted to fit in, and you know, my elementary school was so small. I came from a very small town in New Jersey, and we had about 30 kids in our class, which is very small. And so there was just this like group of girls that really bullied me, and to the point where I actually transferred out of the school when I was it was kind of like right after that little relationship happened. And I think his explanation was that it was because he wanted to fit in, and he felt like, you know, he wanted to be cool, and it wasn't, I guess he didn't feel cool being my boyfriend. So sad. Oh, they were mean. The girls were so mean to me. This one girl just terrorized my life. It was awful. It was awful.
What do you think it is around that age that girls get mean? Why?
I don't know. I've never wanted to be mean like that. You know, I never understood it. And I just feel like it was so, even the boys were mean. It was just, I think kids just I think kids have sometimes like things they're going through and they don't know how to express it. And some people just become a target for whatever they're going through. And I believe that meditation and mental health and yoga should be all required in school. And I think it's something that, you know, is necessary because there's so many kids that have things that happen at home or pain that they're feeling and they're not expressing it correctly. And it ends up really hurting other people. And, you know, these are memories that have stayed with me for my whole life. And they've definitely, I always feel like I'm going to get bullied wherever I go.
So that stays with you. Yeah, because that training that goes into the nervous system, right? The younger it's there, it's programmed. And so it's deeper. And that's why lots of self-talk, brilliant, helpful, but it's not going to go down to the deeper levels. And in the practice that we teach, if a parent or guardian or a child has been meditating for about 3 months, the child, if they're interested, can learn a special practice at no charge. They do have to give something for exchange, which is very important. There must be reciprocity and usually creative gift. And they learn a practice where they're absolutely able to be able to allow their system to go in, get that stress uploaded, get that deep rest that's needed. And that's a transitional time. You're talking about puberty, right? You're talking about the body changing, social interactions, maybe parents aren't who you thought they were. There's a little bit of awakening that happens around there. Things are happening with, romantically that are going on. So that deep rest gets the nervous system more on track for a capacity to discern, really, right? This is the capacity to discern and not go with the group and be willing to be who one is, right? This is where I think can be missing for the culture, right? When we bring up in the next generation. And those of you who are curious about what the practice is, behind me, I don't know if you can see it, there is a book called Vedic Meditation Stories. It's free if you have Amazon Prime Unlimited. You can just download it. And it's the only publication globally currently that has individuals' true stories written in their own voice, which means it's not edited. So you can feel their heart, you can feel their voice. And these are people who would never have meditated. I mean, you say meditation, people think, oh dear, you're off in the clouds, right? But to do a practice that one becomes self-sufficient, right? And can go in and get that deep rest and then have the ability to discern, right? So do you think that the hurt was about he didn't see you for who you were, or that he simply was following someone else's idea that was mean?
I think it's both. Because I remember vividly there's one memory, he got me this little art kit because I paint. And I think I felt like I was seen, I felt like he understood me. And, just this little art kit that he got me. And so it was a betrayal. I remember he just suddenly, like I walked through the hall and he was just sitting with his friends and he just wouldn't even look at me, and like one of his friends made a comment or made fun of me and he just kind of like let it happen. And so I think it's both. Yeah,
you were vulnerable and he saw you, right? He saw you, right? So you're having that outward reflection that isn't a parental figure. For those who grew up in parental environments where they do see you, right? Someone sees you in this seemingly, I think, mean environment. And you feel this connection, and then denying it publicly is heartbreaking of, oh, I'm not, okay, I put myself out there and someone did that. But it is curious, that they came back only at 18 years old, right? And obviously saw the harm, or they had felt it. Because to reach out and know that you like art and get you some art stuff, that's a thoughtful gift.
It is.
Now you said something before about when you were older in relationships and there was a concern of this happening again.
Definitely. I think because, there are moments in your life where you meet people and you have that experience where you do feel seen by them. And I think it just makes the betrayal so much worse. And I don't mean betrayal by cheating or something, but almost just devaluing the connection that you feel is real between you. And it's like, you feel like someone. I'm a true romantic, and I just feel a lot for, if someone's in my life, I just love them and always have their back. And I think that's, you know, sometimes people will they can just leave. They just check out. And I'm just like, that to me is very hard, you know?
So the first time that this happened to you, apart from when you were, 12, what did you find for tools that you started to adopt into your life to be able to become more centered and really on a visceral level understanding it's not you, it's them, as in how they're processing and dealing with it, right?
Mm-hmm. I think just loving yourself and realizing that not everyone is going to love you in the way that you want them to, and they're free to go do whatever they want. You know, you can't make someone stay. And I think just realizing that like life's journey is really about finding who you really are and loving yourself and what makes you happy outside of, you know, relationships and these outside kind of influences that affect us. I think it's important to look inside and see what do we really want from life. And, you know, I think that's helpful.
So fulfilling one's own desires within the being who we are, that is fulfilling, right? And we are all one alone. And that someone else in a romantic relationship is either a reflection of where you are at consciousness wise, right? But they are not a reflection of who you are. That's when you are connecting to your source, correct?
Yeah.
Agree? Yes. So what do you think about these phrases? You said that, you know, you always have someone's back because you're romantic, and when you love someone, you love them. When someone says to you, or I've got your back, and perhaps they do a behavior that you think, well, that's not getting my back anymore.
Right.
But they think they're fine. What would you then, do you think that is probably putting too much on another human being rather than one's own connection to deep love?
I think so. Yeah. I think that's true. And also expecting people to act how you want them to act or how you feel that they should act is not reality.
I'm smiling now, as probably you are, because I think this is perfect orchestration. We're talking about the downfall of relationships, and construction sounds are banging away. Like, we're talking about being reliant on another human being for one's own validation. We're just getting these sympathetic, like, crash.
I know.
I was like, that's exactly what it is, though, right? And I mean, sure, the beauty of having recognition of love from another individual reflected back, and then the sadness. But there's beauty of feeling sadness when one understands it's part of the human journey, right? But if we are needy, like my validation is based on another person being in my life or how they appear in public, right? If they look the right way. Would you say there was a point in your life, or did it happen when you were young because of what happened, that you started looking for partners based on a spiritual and emotional connection more than a physical one?
I think my longer relationships have definitely been a mixture of both, because I don't feel like I can have a really powerful physical relationship with someone unless there is that spiritual connection and that emotional connection. I just don't think that I'm able to go there that deeply with someone unless I have that.
And you've always been that way, though.
I think as I got older and realized, like, you can love someone, but there's certain, I think, like, the times that I've been in love, where I've thought, oh, I'm in love. I haven't always been myself because I was so, I don't know about, it was like nervous because it's like, it's such an intense feeling, but it's almost like it gives you this anxiety. Like, I don't want to lose this, like this energy, whatever this is, I don't want to lose it. So you almost like, I don't feel like I've been authentic, or I've pushed away people that I've tried, that I've like really loved. I've like pushed them away.
Yeah, you haven't been authentic because this construction is like, no, it's like.
I know, it's like the sound effects for all my relationships.
Well, it seems to be echoing perfectly, right? When you're talking about not being authentic, right? That the relationship will crumble. Have you felt you've reached a place where you have found authenticity and the attraction at the same time?
Oh, definitely. And I think that now, I just recently ended a relationship, and I think it's even harder when you are yourself, and you see, like, you both, like, we're so just fully vulnerable with each other. And I think, like, that's the hardest thing, when you're just like, yeah, when it just doesn't work, no matter, with all of the right elements, and like all these, the connection is very strong, but there's just something that is not clicking.
What are the right elements?
I think the right elements would be, chemistry. Chemistry is something we don't always understand or really can put. I don't think I can always put into words what the connection is. It's just like, you just love that person. They make you feel like home. They make you feel comfortable. And
Safe?
What was that?
Safe?
Safe. Yes. Safe. I like a feeling of comfort, safe. These are all like sometimes detrimental to your life, though, because it does give you this like really good, safe feeling. And it's almost like you don't, sometimes that little anxiety that you get, especially like during a breakup, is so powerful. Like, as soon as we broke up, I was like so motivated to like start doing stand-up, and then like putting myself out there more, and just, I would wake up and my stomach would be like in a knot. And instead of numbing that feeling, using it as fuel to, I've just got to get through this. I've got to do my yoga. I've got to meditate. Sound healing has been very helpful for me.
We are all, everything is energetic. If we want to go into science and quantum physics, it's all vibrations, which, comes to sound, which is why sound is so important. And the technique that we teach, we give a sound. It's a sound, it's a vibration, yes. Right? It's not a concentration practice where you giving the word love. So let's, for example, you had a meditation on the word love, and you would then have a breakup. It's gonna be a very tearful meditation, right? Beautiful practices, but for an inward journey, right? Really connecting inward of self. How would you, would you not think that overcoming breakup is finding oneself rather than what was missing in you?
Yeah, definitely.
Because often people, if there is a breakup, go to what's wrong with me? Why did it not work out?
Mm-hmm. Ego. The ego.
Also taking on who that other person is and taking on that's you. If I just changed myself, then they would be. Do you ever feel that in breakups, you lost yourself in a relationship?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
What are the tell signs for you now, moving forward, where you feel you could say, oh, losing yourself, lady?
I think maybe caring too much what the other person I'm going to be really honest. I think I definitely struggle with insecurities. I have a lot of insecurities that probably come from childhood. I think I create things in my head, or I'm just like, I don't know if I want to really feel loved. And I feel like I look for signs that they don't love me or something.
Right. So the red flag for oneself in a relationship, am I now fantasizing about them potentially leaving?
That's
right. And so then the mind is going to start behaving that way and actually creating that truth, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Once that starts to happen, taking a look at oneself, whoa. This is not what happened when I was younger. This is not this person. I'm here right now. And so are they. They may like to spend more time alone because that's what they need to do to restore. So when we spend time together, it's more joyful.
Yes. And I think I definitely feel like I test my partner sometimes with challenges. They don't know they're being tested, but I'm like, but I think.
Do you think that's that testing that if you push them away first and I saw it earlier, I'll push them away first, saving yourself from those feelings of when your mum was leaving?
I think so. Because I think we always are connected to that inner child that we have. And there's just this part of us that's like, just wants to be loved and wants someone to not abandon us.
So when you've had a breakup, you found this energy to do more things that you haven't done before, like the reconnection of self.
Yes.
Yeah. So what would be your advice to yourself as an outside person, to yourself in your next relationship to help it thrive?
Don't push people away so that they prove how much they want to stay, because sometimes I think you push someone away enough, they're going to leave because they're going to listen to what you're telling them to do. And someone can say, with my ex, I would be like, well, I'm over this, I'm done. And in the moment, I didn't think I meant anything by it, or I was just emotional. And I think like people have different ways of responding to that. They don't always look at it like, I see what she's doing, she's maybe playing a game. They look at it like, oh, she's done. And they take it very seriously. And I need to realize, like, you can't just say those things. You can't just like play a game and expect someone to know that it's a game.
Do you think that the games that you have played have been subconscious? You're not even aware you're doing it when you're doing it, or are you?
I think maybe a little bit of both.
And so you tell yourself the next one, maybe just leave the games on the playground. You'll leave the games so. back in 7th grade.
I think so, yeah. I think that's where they have to go.
Because if they're not played, what happens is it's 100% you. That's the authenticity. And the rejection of 100% authenticity is far harder than if there were some games played. Oh, I have the safety nets. I tried it out. They were good for that. Rather than being vulnerable, stating your worth, being in the moment, and then seemingly being abandoned. But there isn't any true abandonment, because all love is reflected from where we connect to our source anyhow. We simply, like you had said, we weren't brought up in a culture where we are reminded of that's where love really comes from. And the practice of the meditation that we teach is about going inward and connecting to that and having those bliss chemicals be printed out in our physiology. And when we're in a place like that, not only do we feel happier and brighter, but things come to us that we don't expect in a great way. We will always deal with life and heartache and grief and sickness. This is part of the human condition. And as soon as we surrender and start to enjoy it, Yes, other great things happen. Well, I want to thank you so much, Jckie, for joining us on our cosmic chat and talking about your matters of the heart. If you've loved her openness, please pop it in the comments. Please, please, please do subscribe or share this video. We really love it if you could just share that. Maybe you have a friend who went through something like this and you can help. It's what we're all trying to do here. And if you want to know more about the nonprofit, you can see links in the description. Give us a donation if you want, and we will see you soon on the next Cosmic Chats.